Hello, I'm Peter Vaughan, and today I've got an MAN, a MAN, you know, one of those great big articulated trucks that you see thundering down the A1. Well, no, not really, because this MAN is effectively a Volkswagen Crafter in disguise. Built in the same Polish factory, it's pretty much a Volkswagen Crafter with different badges. But it's also the basis of WildAx's new top-of-the-range campervan. So, I won't be needing an HGV licence. This is a 3.5 tonne van that you can drive on a standard car licence. I won't, perhaps, be needing this Yorkie bar either, although it was rather tempting. What I will be needing is plenty of coffee and hot chocolate, because it's hovering around freezing. It's December and it is very, very cold here at Castleton Caravan and Motorhome Club site. Beautiful location, but it is somewhat chilly. Now, this motorhome is the WildAx Altair, launched recently at the October NEC Motorhome Show, and it takes the place of Mercedes in the top echelon of the WildAx range. So the new premium van in their range. Prices start at $92,995. Another $2,000, so $94,995 if you want the automatic, as here. Now that is an 8-speed torque converter automatic, not a DSG as some people would have you believe. You get a DSG on the Transporter, but the Crafter and the MAN is an 8-speed torque converter automatic. The only other options on this particular vehicle are the leather interior and the Thule awning. So everything else that you see on this van is standard equipment. The 140 engine, metallic paint, the alloy wheels, and these nice flush fit side windows. The water tanks are 100 litres fresh and 80 litres waste. Freshwater filler, of course, there. And your mains hookup is, of course, back here. Now that brings us to an interesting point, because the Altair is designed for a certain amount of off-grid camping. What you won't find anywhere in this van is a gas cylinder or gas tank, because it's a completely gas-free van. Now, WildAx have been trying that for a while with their Volt Pack on the Fiat-based models, and as standard, the Altair comes completely gas-free. WildAx see that as the future of motorhomes. So what do you get instead? Well, you get an induction hob, a compressor fridge, diesel heating, diesel or electric, in fact, Truma Combi heating, and to power all that you get two 100 amp hour lithium batteries, 400 watts of solar panels on the roof, and a 3 kilowatt inverter. So you can be completely independent of mains hookup if you want to be. Although I'm now hooked up because we're on a Caravan and Motorhome Club site, I wasn't when I first arrived about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Now, the heating has been on pretty much constantly all that time because it's pretty damned cold. I've also used the induction hob, made a hot chocolate. I've used the microwave for my dinner last night. Obviously, the fridge has been on, although that won't have been working very hard. And yeah, mainly the heating. Oh, and hot water for a shower and washing up this morning. So I've used all the facilities, and doing so from 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon until 9:30 this morning. The battery had gone down from 100% to 45%. So I have now hooked up, but it would give you a few days off-grid in better conditions. Obviously, we're getting nothing from the solar panel today, and we are using a lot of power in other ways. So not ideal conditions for being off-grid, but even in these conditions, you could have a night or two without campsite hookup. I should have said too that the water tanks are both winterised, both underslung, and I do feel that this waste tank drain, well, not only is it covered in mud from the rear wheels, which isn't ideal. It does look rather vulnerable there if you go across any rough ground, and well, if you're going to be close to ground in the back end, that looks like it might get damaged. One thing you will find throughout this MAN base vehicle is, well, it just feels, well, it is in a different league to the Fiat Ducato and the Peugeot Boxer. It is definitely a premium product in the van market. Now at the back you've still got the original, of course, barn doors, again with the flush fit windows, but importantly down the back here you've got good storage. So you've got a really useful storage space under the sofa at the back here. It goes right the way across the full width of the vehicle, which is great. Depth is about 580 millimetres and maximum height of about 380 millimetres. So a good sized space for your walking boots, levelling wedges, mains lead, tows, outdoor chairs, all that sort of stuff. And go in here out of the way. And there's even a little shelf for a few odds and ends up at the top there as well. Not much to show you down the offside, just the usual toilet cassette servicing hatch and of course the vent for the Truma boiler. But one thing to note is that this is a big van. The longest Fiat Ducatos and Peugeot Boxers are 6.36 metres long. This is 6.84 metres. It is a fraction narrower than the Fiats and Peugeots, but as I say, worth noting that this is a longer van. So, time at last to go indoors and get out of the cold. You've got this big sliding door with a fly screen. Won't be needing that today. But notice that there is no external step. WildAx say that because of the position of the fuel tank, they can't actually fit one. So they will be providing a freestanding caravan type step. Without that, it is quite a leap into the van. I make it about 560 millimetres off the floor. Okay for me, but worth checking out if you're not so fit and mobile. And then once inside, you've got a convenient hook just inside the door. Perfect to hang up your coat. So this may not be your main seating area up front, but it is perhaps your main dining area. Half-tonnet bench seat with a couple of seat belts so you can carry 2 rear passengers, and then wall-mounted table, nice and sturdy, that one. No pull-out extension, so you won't be able to reach it comfortably from the swivel passenger seat, but for 2 people or maybe 3 at most, it is more than adequate. And this isn't a family van, it's 2+1 berth really, because the extra berth is just for a child. So decent space up the front. The cab seats both swivel very easily. You've got armrest, height adjustment on these seats, and no problems with dangling legs because you've got a raised floor up front here as well. You've also got full height walk-through into the cab. Unlike some vans, there's no shelf to bang your head on as you go through. And on the wall here, not only have you got a couple of USBs for your phone or whatever, but you've also got a main socket so you can, well, I can have my coffee machine, and much needed it is today too. I could even use that if I wasn't hooked up to the site's electrics, because all I need to do is flick a switch on the inverter at the back and, hey presto, we've got mains even without hookup. Then, as far as lighting's concerned, well, you've got the big push-up Hecky roof light rather than the windy one, and big opening windows, of course, on either side. And then artificial illumination, where you've got this strip light in the ceiling and another one over the seating area, over the table. But Could do with perhaps a bit more sort of variation in terms of mood lighting, in terms of reading lights, just to give you more variety of ambience. So that's the front seating area with this rather nice diagonally stitched leather upholstery. What I should point out is that there's no storage under this half-ton out bench because that's where your Truma Combi boiler is. It's the 4D, so 4 kilowatt, and it's diesel and electric, and of course with the blown air as well. This half-ton out bench, yes, it does give you the versatility of carrying rear passengers, and it's fine just sitting here having your breakfast, but it does feel a bit upright. I wouldn't want to travel very far in this seat. But now let's look at the area in which you'll be spending much more time. This is where you're going to be wanting to spend your time, and this is the reason you'll buy this Altair. Now, WildAx tell me that Altair is going to be a range of models, and that in time there will be a fixed single bed, that'd be high single beds to give you a garage, and a fixed double bed again with a garage as well. Those models are coming, but the first one they've launched is the classically British design with this rear U-shaped lounge. It's quite sumptuous, isn't it, with this leather interior? A bit manly, I think, perhaps because it's on a man with this black leather, but it suits feet up relaxation more than sitting upright because, well, the seats are a tad high and quite upright at the back. I think it might be better if these top cushions, these sections are fixed, these top cushions were sloped away or curved away, because they do rather enforce a sit up and do as you're told type seating position. But no, use these nice matching leather scatter cushions, put your feet up, and there's plenty of room for both of you to unwind. You've got magazine pocket. Over on the other side there's a smaller pocket, perhaps for an iPad or something, although the USB is the other side of the window. It's better to put the two together, but never mind. There's another USB, double USB socket down there, and another one at floor level where there is a main socket as well. Nowhere specifically, or no fitted TV. I suppose if you wanted a TV, it would have to go on the wall over there, on the end of the wardrobe. Other than that, up here in the corner of the lounge, you've got your trimmer control and the switch for the inverter, as well as the display that shows you how your battery usage is going. Then under the seats, plenty of storage on this side. On the off side, I've got all my bedding in just half of that. Now that's a double duvet and a couple of pillows just in half of that, and the other half I'm using for camera bags. So good storage under there. Across the back is the boot area that you saw earlier, and then on this side you've got your inverter and your 2 lithium leisure batteries. Up top, more storage with these top lockers all around. They don't positively lock, so you just put your fingers underneath and lift the cupboards. Each one has a lip. None of them terribly big, but there's plenty of them all the way around. Just perhaps a shame that when you shut them, they do rather shut with a bang if you let them go. So it would be nice to have one of those soft closing strips, just to give a bit more of a feeling of quality, I suppose. Again, no reading lights. You have got, again, the mood lighting around the top lockers and these LED strips under the top cupboards, but they're not dimmable, I'm afraid, so you can't really get more of a sort of evening relaxation vibe. It's a bit bright. And then above, you've just got a small roof light here rather than the bigger one that you have up front. Before we move on to other areas of the van, it's worth showing you that you can add a table back here. The leg goes in the wardrobe, which isn't a particularly big space, but the table is okay for drinks or snacks if you have friends in, although you will have to be careful because it is a bit wobbly. That's my lunch, tomato soup. So let's tell you about the kitchen.
Obviously you've got a Dometic microwave, but the other cooking option is a 2-ring induction hob. Last night I cooked an M&S chicken tikka masala in there and it was excellent. And you haven't got to worry about the usual restrictions of only being able to use the microwave when hooked up, because there's an inverter here. There's a fairly standard kitchen sink, lots of drawer space, nicely finished furniture, but the drawers don't soft close. If you want more worktop, there's a big flap at the forward end of the kitchen. There's a big slide out unit for packet foods too, and 154 litre compressor fridge opposite. Finally, there's a little trap door behind the sink with room for spices and so on. What's lacking is mains sockets. Just one down at floor level and nothing by that worktop flap. Opposite the kitchen, behind a tambour door, is the washroom. Now, it's not a huge space. Shoulder room in particular, between your towel and this cupboard, might be a little tight for some people. However, they have used the space quite well. You've got a top locker above my head there, a mirror on the wall, and this nice GRP moulding around the window. A bowl on a plinth, a nice ceramic one, not plastic, and then the tap pulls out to become the shower head. There are towel rings and hooks and a roof vent. Downsides? Well, your hands don't naturally sit under the tap for washing. Then when you're showering, there's just enough room for me, but you wouldn't want to be a large person in here, and there's just one drain in the shower tray. But good flow of decent hot water from the Truma combi, and didn't have to do too much mopping down afterwards, despite there being no separate shower, no shower curtain. In fact, not having a shower curtain was a big plus, because there wasn't one sticking to me. So, driving this MAN-based Altair, I think there's two questions I need to answer. One, do you feel the extra size of this van that's the best part of 7 metres long? Secondly, is it worth the premium over a Fiat? Well, at 6.84 metres, it is a big van, and there are times that you'll notice that. It's a long wheelbase. But the only time you're really aware of it is when you're parking. It won't, of course, fit in a normal car park parking bay like a 5.4 metre van would. It takes up that much more space to park, but on the road, you're not really aware of the extra length. In fact, the extra length seems to give you extra stability. And then, well, is it worth the premium over a typical Fiat campervan? Well, yes, 100% yes it is. It's a different breed to the Fiat Ducato or the Peugeot Boxer. It's a million times better. It really is a million times better. So much more modern, so much better quality. And then there's things like some of the details, the screen for the sat-nav and the radio, etc. It's a glass screen like an iPhone, so it just feels that bit more modern. You also get reversing sensors, but not a reversing camera. Then the automatic gearbox, we've got here 8-speed automatic gearbox, a torque converter gearbox, not a DSG like on a Transporter, but it's super smooth. And then you've got the 140 horsepower engine as standard. It's not a flying machine. There are faster motorhomes out there, but it's absolutely adequate. The ride isn't as firm as a Fiat, and that helps with the conversion noise. Yes, there are a few rattles on really rough roads, but generally, from a conversion noise point of view, it's very good. The main thing though is that this man is just very nice to drive. And it's got all the kit, cruise control, air conditioning, all that sort of thing. What haven't you got? Well, it's a plastic steering wheel, which does feel a bit cheap. I would like a leather wheel, and of course I'd like a reversing camera. I'd like a few less sheep on this road too. The seats, they're very good. They've got electric lumbar adjustment and height adjustment, and you've got twin armrests as well. Before I show you the beds, see these pleated blinds. Unfortunately, they seem to be the wrong way up, as they lift from the bottom, so you can't get a bit of daylight in the morning and retain your privacy. At night, you can have single beds just by removing the settee backrests. The near side bed is a good size too, at 1.93 metres long, that's 6'4". But you might need to find a shorter partner. The off-side bed is only 1.7 metres long, which is 5'7". If you prefer a double, there are 2 slide-out panels to fill the aisle, and then the side backrest cushions go in on top. Then you have a lovely big flat double bed that's 1.76 metres wide, the full width of the van. The wardrobe doesn't get in the way, your feet go easily under that, but do remember that the bed is of course still much shorter on one side of the vehicle. 2 aspects though that I haven't covered regarding sleeping in this WildAx. First of all, the diesel heating, which I found rather noisy at night, is much quieter in electric mode, so that is worth considering if you're going to be off grid. And the other thing is, you settle yourself down in this big bed at night, and then where are the light switches? You have to get out of bed, go down to the sliding door where the light switches are above the door, turn the lights off and fumble your way back to bed. You can make a third berth up front using the table between the rear travel seat and the swivel driver's seat, and then the backrest from the rear bench on top. It's 1.45 metres by 86 centimetres, 4'9" by 2'10", so it's okay if a grandchild joins you on a trip. So my final verdict on this WildAx Altair. Well, I loved driving the MAN. It really is like a Rolls Royce compared with the usual Fiat Ducatos. And I think going gas free is increasingly going to be a good idea. I wasn't keen, however, on the noise from the diesel heating at night, or the fact that the fresh and waste water tanks both froze, admittedly in these rather extreme conditions on test. I'd have liked some more sophisticated interior lighting too, some dimmable ambient lights and some reading lamps. But the classic rear lounge layout here and the well-planned storage should ensure that the Altair is a great success. I'm very keen to see what the partnership between MAN and WildAx brings next. I hope you've enjoyed this video. We did have a few technical issues when filming this one, all now resolved for the future. But please don't forget to like and of course to subscribe to our channel. And if you know anyone who's interested in campervans and motorhomes, please point them in our direction. Thank you.